Hey stranger, look my way. You new in town, I'm wondering your name and
Hi, welcome to Atelier LOMLA. I'm Frances and I'm very excited to show you my studio today. I have many strengths, but making Pinterest-worthy aesthetic videos is unfortunately not one of them. I hope you still get a lot of value and information about the design of my studio that you can apply for your own art supplies or the space you create art. If you hear something chewing in the background, that is the dog. I don't want to kick him out of the room just to film the studio tour. He is happily chewing on his little piece of chewing wood, and that is good for his teeth, so I'm not gonna stop him. Let us begin with what is just behind the door when you enter the studio. There is actually already a lot I am storing on the door as well as just behind the door. Let me show you what I mean. This is where I usually have my tripod that my camera is currently standing on, and here is also a very large easel. Before I had these amazing wireless headphones, I had to carry my phone with me because my headphones were cable bound. And as you can see, also this skirt does not have any pockets, so I had this tiny fanny pack to store my phone in there. Let's move on to this space. This is where I store my very large sheets of paper. I am very much into bookbinding, and bookbinding needs large sheets of paper that you cut to size. The paper gets delivered in these plastic bags. I punch 2 holes in there, and I can easily hang it up on these 2 clothes hangers that I mounted to the wall. Almost everything in this studio is from Ikea by accident. I did not plan to buy everything there, but whenever I needed something, Ikea had the perfect storage options. And that even goes as far as something so small and simple like a clothes hanger. These clothes hangers can fold up into the wall if they are empty, and they stick out horizontally quite a bit into the room, which was exactly what I needed so that I can stack many layers of paper sheets behind each other. Just an idea if you don't know what to do with those large paper sheets. I love this. Now let's take a look at the St. Petersburg way of hanging that I have going on here, which is just a nice way of saying it's all over the place. And really, these are not pieces I especially want to hang up on the wall. It was just so empty and I wanted to decorate it, so I started putting up some kinds of doodles and paintings. Now, as you can see, this open cupboard is just next to my desk, which is very handy because I store all of the things that are priority number 1 that I need all the time, but I want to have my desk as clear and clean as possible. So instead I store it just to my right in this container. This is from Ikea as well. I believe it's called Twizzler. I have my watercolors as well as pencils, sticky notes, erasers. I have scalpels and palettes, my letter scale, as well as another palette and geometric rulers. And then the rest of this is filled with packaging materials, lots of them. You know, I try to use as much recycled packaging as I can. I store that in the lowest shelf, but I'm always afraid that I don't have something fitting handy. And there are costs involved when you go a bit above the allowed height of a package. So I really want to make sure I have the right sized package handy, but still I keep lots of recycled packaging materials down in the lowest shelf. Something else I really need all the time are scrap pieces of paper, especially when you glue a lot in bookbinding, and I store those here, and my calendars are also in here, which I need to have handy and look at all the time. And then some technology stuff. Let's take a look at the desk. This desk, as well as the chair, is from Ikea as well. For the longest time I wanted a height adjustable desk so that I could switch between a standing and a sitting working position. I do have problems with my back as well as my wrists, and ever since I have this desk and can adjust it to what I need at that moment, my back is a lot better. One of the things I enjoy the most is when I want to paint details. I usually slumped over the desk to look closer onto the paper, and now I can simply lift the desk and the paper so that it is closer and my posture is way better. However, you can see there are a lot of fixtures on this desk. I have one for this amazing daylight lamp, which also has a magnifying glass in there. I have another one for my monitor. Usually I don't have two monitors, I don't need them. I only have one screen on there usually, but I had to send this one in because it wasn't working properly. I had to send it in twice actually, and I still have to check whether it is okay now. Then there is another fixture which I use for my camera whenever I'm painting to get those nice overhead shots. And another one! Sometimes I just take this with the camera and get another angle, but also if I do voiceover, I will put my microphone in there. So I outsourced two of these onto the windowsill because whenever I was lifting the desk into a standing position, it looked like I was releasing the Kraken, and I had to be very careful to not get stuck somewhere. Yeah, I try to keep my desk as clear as possible. On nice days, I can see the Alps, which are a very large mountain range in Central Europe, but only in winter and only on a very nice, clear, sunny day. Over here on the left, I collect postcards that friends or family sent me. Most of these are from my mom, and these cards are a set from Katie Scott. She is an incredible illustrator who does a lot of these scientific 2D illustrations. I enjoy her work a lot. But exciting news, I will get a PO box, so I will tell you about the address, and if you want to do some art swaps or just gush about art supplies via letter, I would love to hang up your letters here as well. But I'll let you know in the future as soon as I have that PO box. Now over here we have my dog. His name is Dino. He is a Sheltie, and this is where he usually spends his time when I am working in the studio. We walk 4 kilometers a day most times, so he's pretty tired. He enjoys snuggling on his little dog pillow. And then next to the dog there is another tray, serving tray. What do you say? I believe it's called serving tray, from Ikea. And in there I have my products as well as my grandma's products. I don't know if you're aware of it, but I not only sell my own bookbinding and art products in my Etsy shop, but I also sell my grandma's stuff because ever since 2020 she is unable to sell her watercolor and silhouette cut art on the creative fairs she usually went to. She even illustrated children's books and wrote them herself, but they are in German. Now let's talk about this workbench, which is, surprise, from Ikea. What I truly enjoy about this workbench is that I can work in a standing position just like with my desk, but at the same time I have all of the equipment and tools handy that I need. Let me just show you how easy it is for me to cut some paper. So I'll grab my cutting mat. I have a guillotine as well as a normal cutting mat. And just next to the workbench is this hanging pegboard where I store all of the priority 2, priority B stuff. I grab my rolling cutter, I grab my ruler. Then maybe I want to round the edges, I want to clamp it in place, I have all of the tools I need right next to me. All of my bookbinding, needle and yarn are in here as well. Or if I have to package orders, all of the stamps are here. So this is a really multifunctional workbench and I enjoy working with it. I also store gift wrapping paper and rolls of paper such as craft paper in here. So I can just grab it and start working. Let's take a closer look at this pegboard. Some of the priority B things that are hanging here are large brushes, glue, stencils, this easel for the desk, inks, gouache, my polychromos, pencils. So there are a lot of art supplies actually on here, as well as tools. Oh yeah, and this is from Ikea as well. Before I talk about this last piece of furniture and storage in my studio, I want to talk about the studio lights that I'm using. They are from Newer. I got a set of 2 and they are doing a great job. They are not really pretty. I believe soft boxes are a lot prettier, but usually you don't see them. Usually I'm able to place them off screen. Now, this art cabinet. On top of the art cabinet sits my printer, and that is, after my computer, probably the most expensive thing I own, even more expensive than my camera. It is quite a recent addition and I'm gonna gush about it real quick. Mostly because it's an amazing printer, but also because I still have the need to justify this immense purchase for myself. So this is an Epson Eco Tank. It has tanks instead of ink cartridges, which not only allows you to be more eco-friendly because you have much less waste, it is also so much cheaper to print with it because you buy your ink in these very large affordable bottles. One of the large reasons I was able to recently lower the price of my Little Prince book drastically because the cost of production is much lower now. It can print in A4 and A3. Just for my overseas friends, this is A4, which is roughly letter sized, and then this is twice the size, so A3. And not only do I do these art prints with it, I do everything else. I recently rebranded and am now doing my own business cards with it. I do my price tags. I print everything with this printer. And I don't need to feel bad about it or wasteful because it is so very efficient. So that's the printer. That's the printer paper. You're not supposed to store your photo paper outside. Whatever box it came in, put it back in there because it will last longer. Some label paper, some thicker printing paper, and some normal printing paper. And also these reference prints where I wrote on the back what kind of paper and what kind of print setting I used. These are so handy. For example, the Little Prince prints you just saw have a lot of blue and yellow. So I'm able to check which paper is the best for blues and yellows. They are kind of hard for some printers to depict, and I can check with my little reference sheets. Let's look at the art cabinet. This art cabinet is where I store most of my art supplies. Here we have paper. There will be even more paper. I have lots of paper. Paper, acrylics, gesso, glue, water-soluble pens, as well as oil pastels, brushes, a heat tool, and down below in this lowest shelf there are all things you'd need for textile painting, and there is my sewing kit that I got from my grandma. Oh, and I have a whole box full of very nice ribbons. I love them. Do I need that many ribbons? No. Do I enjoy having them? Immensely. Here we have even more paper. So much paper. Some photo paper for the printer. nice labels, stickers, washi tape in a book, acrylic paint, lino print equipment, as well as glue. And in here are fine liners, the Uniposca pens, as well as my brush pens. And some more paper, as well as this thing where I store some of my art. If you are interested in seeing exactly what I store in here, I have another video where I first organized it when I bought this guy, which is again from Ikea. It is very special because it is 50 centimeters deep, and that is quite hard to come by, such a deep cabinet. It was a bit differently organized, but the stuff in there is mostly the same, so if you are interested in that, I will link my organization videos of this studio down below.
All my friends have been proposing.
That was not clever. Oh, that really hurts. But we're powering through. Now, the very last thing I want to show you, I almost forgot because my camera was on there for some of the filming process. The box with my stamps and ink pads. Anyways, all of the stamping equipment. I made my own stamps for packaging Etsy orders, and I store those in here. I also have some adorable washi tape that I use to package up orders, as well as this huge stamp that depicts a steampunk newspaper, which I use to decorate notebooks. Yeah, this is it. That's my studio. I hope you enjoyed the tour. I personally love watching studio tours. I just want to talk about the next video real quick. If you are already subscribed to my channel, you might have noticed that I changed my name from Love of My Life Art to Atelier LOMLA. In the next video, I'll talk about why I did that and how I designed my new logo, how I tried to brand Atelier LOMLA. This is the new logo, by the way. I also got it in this beautiful blue. Next time, I'll talk about how I did that, because it wasn't easy. I spent the better part of 2 weeks doing that. And then after that, I am aching to draw again, preferably with oil pastel or watercolors. If you want to stay updated, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I love talking about art supplies, so if you have any questions whatsoever or just want to gush about some art supplies, let me know down below in the comments. I'm very excited to see you in my next video and hope you have a good time. Until then, bye!